This is Herculaneum, destroyed, like its sister city Pompeii, by the eruption of Vesuvius in 79 AD. Herculaneum is much smaller than Pompeii and receives fewer visitors, but it is arguably more spectacular. The buildings are better preserved, and some still have their carbonized wooden doors and furniture. Before the eruption, Herculaneum stood on a promontory that jutted out into the bay, and water swept all the way to the base of the city walls, just below where we're standing here. The eruption sent a series of pyroclastic surges over the city, which buried it beneath up to 20 meters of volcanic debris and pushed the shore 400 meters farther out. The debris soon hardened to a rock-like consistency, which made Herculaneum very difficult to excavate. Only about a quarter of the site has been uncovered to date, though more was explored in the 18th century by tunnelers. A nice view of Vesuvius. And to our right, you can see just how deeply the city was buried by volcanic debris. From this vantage point, we can also see that Herculaneum, like so many Roman cities, was laid out on a grid plan. The most important street, the Decumanus Maximus, is towards the back of the excavated portion. Crossing it are a series of narrower cardi. We're going to walk up a couple of those and make a wide loop around the site. Below us, and recently paved over, is the ancient port area. We see again how dramatically Vesuvius changed the topography of this area. That line of doors to the left side of the paved area marks the boat sheds. These low arcades face the beach and the sea. They were likely used for storage. On the night of the eruption, about 300 people took shelter inside. The pyroclastic surge found them there and killed them instantly. There are replicas of the skeletons, not visible from this angle, unfortunately, inside each of the doors. The bones were studied by forensic anthropologists who determined that the people of Herculaneum were remarkably healthy. They had few cavities, ate plenty of fish, and had been, on average, taller than the 20th century population of Naples. We'll work our way around the site more or less counterclockwise, starting with this terrace above the boat sheds. Here, we find the funerary altar and a replica of the statue that commemorate Marcus Nonius Bulbus, Herculaneum's most distinguished citizen. He died nearly a century before the eruption and was cremated here, just outside the walls. He had been a praetor and provincial governor, but he retired to Herculaneum and lavished his wealth on the town. He built the town's basilica and rebuilt its walls. Hundreds of Herculaneums were descended from his freedmen and took their former master's name. The so-called suburban baths, so-called because they were just outside the original walls, are just above us. Just above the terrace of Marcus Nonius Bulbus is the house of the Telephus relief, named for, you guessed it, a relief of the Greek hero Telephus. Here in the atrium, besides these nicely stuccoed columns and this newly rebuilt roof, we have these marble oscilla, decorative discs that spun and waved in the breeze. This opulent residence may have been built for Marcus Nonius Bulbus himself. If not, it was for one of his wealthiest contemporaries. This is the palestra, an exercise yard that is still largely buried beneath volcanic debris. The excavators found the trunks of carbonized trees here, swept into a corner by the force of the eruption. This tunnel allows us to penetrate a bit deeper into the space. Here, and only here, visitors can access the network of tunnels cored out by the Bourbon excavators in the 18th century. Among much else, here they uncovered the remarkable fountain that stood at the center of this space. Bear with me, please. That fountain, now right ahead of us, was shaped, as you can see, like a hydra, an allusion, in all probability, to Hercules, the namesake of Herculaneum. Walking up Cardo 5 toward the Decumanus Maximus, we pass a number of well-preserved thermopolia, fast food establishments. This one has a nice marble counter at which patrons were served. We now turn onto the Decumanus Maximus, Herculaneum's main street. This was a bustling thoroughfare, its porticos busy with shoppers. On either side are buildings with reconstructed second stories. In some places, the carbonized wooden beams have been reconstituted and set back into place. The town's public center was probably located around that arch at the far end of this street.